Electra Willis.
Amen.
Amen.
Good morning, good morning. It is truly a blessing to be here, to be asked to speak on this topic. It is definitely a very relevant topic, and parents do matter.
Yes.
So I'm going to get right into my PowerPoint presentation. So the agenda for today is what we're going to be talking about is emotional health, mental health, and spiritual health. So my introduction, thank you. So my introduction, so a foundational belief on many holistic parenting models is that parents' needs are just as important as their children's needs. As parents, we are responsible for the health and well-being of our children. Part of that is supporting their emotional well-being as well. But we cannot do that when we're tapped out. Mm-hmm. As the saying goes, you cannot pour from an empty vessel. Mm-hmm. So in speaking of emotional health, let's take a look at the emotional health, right? The first thing that most parents, I think, sometimes neglect to do is to check in with themselves. They neglect to say, how am I doing? So it is so important to pay attention to your own feelings. Maintain healthy boundaries. I am big on boundaries. And take the time you need for yourself. Acknowledge that stress and anxiety that you might be carrying with you every day. Everyone reacts differently to stressful situations, and this pandemic has given us plenty of things to worry about. Mm-hmm. Do your best to be honest about not being okay. It is okay to say, I'm not okay. Mm-hmm. How many people really have the courage? How many parents really have the courage to say, I'm not okay? Mm. Oftentimes, parents believe that they have to be the end-all and be-all. Yeah. They feel, I have to carry this load and I have to carry it alone. Mm. They do not tap into their resources, their community, their church community, the community in which they live in. If you remember back in the day, the neighbors knew and could chastise and correct your children. Mm-hmm. These days, we have to be so careful about that, you know. So a lot of that is kind of what we've gotten away from. And in getting away from that, oftentimes parents feel very alone. Yeah. If you don't have grandmama or grandpa or aunties and uncles, you know, that continue to make up that community in which you are a part of with your children, you know, again, oftentimes parents feel very alone. It's really important to establish your own community. It does not have to be your blood relatives. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, people sometimes forget that. We can create our own communities. Yeah. We create our communities at work. Mm-hmm. We create our communities within our church. Mm-hmm. You know, so again, it is very important to know that community matters when it comes to your well-being as well as the well-being of your child. Mm-hmm. So let's look at our emotional, right? I'm sorry, we just looked at our emotional health. Let's look at our mental health. Mm-hmm. This is a biggie, okay? Oftentimes, as parents, we think, I need them to believe I'm okay, when in actuality, we are not okay. Mm. There are so many things that are placed on our plate that there are times that we feel overwhelmed, we're anxious, we even fall into states of depression. But we, again, have to make people believe I'm okay. Okay. So, prioritize your own self-care. So important. Again, another thing that I am very big on, self-care. Acknowledge the stress and anxiety that you might be carrying with you. Everyone reacts differently to stressful situations. What usually makes your day or week feel fulfilling? That's one of the questions that you want to ask yourself. What is going to fulfill me today? Right? And really when I say today, because I'm again, I am a therapist and I really believe in staying in the moment, being present. Oftentimes, that's another thing that most parents are guilty of, including myself. We are future casting. We are like all the way in next year, as opposed to just being in this moment, in this day. This is the only day we have. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And that is how we have to operate. So the lines between work and your personal life might be blurring, again, especially as we continue to navigate this pandemic. It's not over, There's some things that maybe have gotten back to normal or we have normalized because it is our new norm. So it's really about learning how to make that separation and that distinction, especially if some of you are working from home. I know I worked from home for a year. And it was very difficult to continue to, be able to say, okay, I'm not working now. Oh, wait a minute, let me shut my computer off. Oh, wait a minute, I just heard it ding. Let me go and check and see what's going on. So if we're at work, it can ding all day. We don't hear it. And so we don't go back to it, right? So it's really about understanding that we need to shut that off. When it is time to stop working, it is time to stop working, Find ways to continue to modify or develop new self-care routines for yourself, right? When the gyms shut down and that was an outlet for many people and they were not able to go, it was a stress reliever, an anxiety reducer, and they weren't able to go and just expel all of that energy, all of that negative energy. So what are some of the things that we did to modify that, right? I think that many people, some did, but I think a lot of people's, exercise routines and things like that fell by the wayside. So again, all of that impacts your mental health, So because self-care and mental health are connected, neglecting one or the other can have a negative impact on the other. Sometimes parental stress or burnout may become severe enough that you cannot overcome it by yourself. And there may be times that you might need to tap into professional help. I know that oftentimes people, especially in our African American communities, felt like, I can't go to a therapist. I can't seek counseling, right? What will so-and-so think, right? What will my children think? What will my spouse think? What will my friends think? What will my church members think? And so that has kept so many of us out of a place of seeking help. I can tell you, as a mental health and substance use therapist, a lot more of us have sought help throughout this pandemic. Honestly, the majority of my clientele at this point are African American. What I can say though is that many of them are African American women. So we still have to tap into our African American men and let them know that it is okay to seek help as well. Because again, as the head of the house, right? Oftentimes our African American men feel like, number one, I can't take the time to go and sit on somebody's couch, right? We don't even do that anymore, right? There are so many ways to get help now, telehealth is very big, And it works. You know, a lot of people felt like, well, if I'm not in person, right, what am I really getting? Telehealth is a huge, huge success, you know. I know in the beginning there was a lot of trepidation about it, but people are actually getting the relief that they need through telehealth services. So I would encourage anyone who may need to seek professional help to do it, because our mental health matters, right? Mental health matters as we continue to parent and be positive and effective parents for our children. Okay? So, spiritual health, right? So, spiritual health, and actually, I'm only going to speak a little bit on this because I'm going to leave that to Pastor Sutton as we converse shortly. But know God cares for you. Okay? Trust and teach that all life is connected and has a purpose. Listen to your child. Oftentimes, if you remember back in the day, it was kind of like the child is to be seen and not heard. No.
Wow.
That is an antiquated way of thinking. That is old and it is not effective. Words are important. Use them with care. What we tell our children, what we tell ourselves is huge in what we believe. And what we believe is what we are going to live out. Okay? Allow and encourage dreams, wishes, and hopes. If you don't have hope, you don't have anything.
Yes,
You
Wow.
don't.
that's right.
Add magic to the ordinary, whatever that looks like. Whatever that looks like, right? So, be a positive mirror for your child. What your child sees, what your child lives with on a daily basis will be what your child lives out.
That's right.
Release the struggle. You do not have to do it by yourself. Again, community. Ask for help. We sometimes in this day and age feel like I can't ask for help. I have to do this all alone. And again, you do not have to do it alone. And make each day a new beginning. Leave whatever happened in yesterday. Okay? Do not bring that into your new day. Because if you bring that into your new day, then guess what you're doing? You are reliving yesterday.
That's right.
What's different?
That's
Right?
right.
What is different? You know. So spirituality has played a crucial role as a coping mechanism for our families and as individuals. While it is less often explored in relation to parenting, many studies have shown that spirituality is in fact an effective approach in managing families and raising your children. So I have 5 self-care tips for parents. Sleep is a key component of
All right.
both emotional and physical self-care. Yet so many parents neglect it. Aim to get at least 7 hours of sleep every night if possible. Try to do one thing every day that improves your mental or physical health in some way. You could, for example, go on a walk after dinner or call a friend you haven't seen in a while. There is a link that I would like to share with you after our presentation. So I'm going to just have you check out this link, and it offers other self-care tips. Self-reflection is also a crucial part of self-care. So brainstorm what you're currently missing and how to best take care of yourself. So put together a self-care journal and reflect every day on how you took care of your health and your well-being today. that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much.
Amen.